British record companies are calling for more robust action to be taken against CD piracy. It comes amid warnings that it is costing the industry £165 million in lost revenue last year alone. Matt Phillips is from the British phonographic industry and he joins me now in the studio. We're always hearing this, so is there something new? Has it got worse?
Yeah, the problem certainly has got worse. We've seen over the last couple of years that piracy has got worse and worse just through the seizures that our investigators are making. That's largely because of the fact that music pirates can make an enormous amount of profit out of selling fake CDs, which has attracted a lot of commercial and organised criminals into it. Secondly, in terms of the technology, it's now very easy to make a factory virtually in your front room, so that's exacerbated the problem. But thirdly, there's also a gap in enforcement between the police and trading standards who are supposed to be tackling the problem. And while individuals in certain areas do a fantastic job, it's with very limited resources, and what we're urging is for the government to put more money into resources so the problem can be tackled.
Why doesn't the record industry put more money in to tackle it? Because they're the ones who are losing the money, aren't they, after all?
Yes, I mean, the industry has consistently put a lot of money into it, and indeed the BPI was set up initially to deal with the problem, but it's gone far beyond the image of a sort of a Del Boy character selling the odd CD off a trestle table in a market. What we're talking about is we've got organised criminals who have moved right into this trade. And what the study shows that we've released today is that a lot of the counterfeits that are bought, 45% in fact, would not have been bought had the illegal copies not been available. So really it's about controlling the supply of these counterfeit goods.
Is this downloading, has that not made some sort of dent on this though? Because people are getting the music direct, they're paying for it, therefore they're not going to a second-hand dealer.
I think there is a problem with illegal music file sharing. I think when the technology...
Oh, when they're not paying for that either.
Well, that's absolutely right. I mean, the technology is now there to share music for free over the internet, but it is illegal. And we've taken measures against that, but it's quite easy with all the furor around downloads to take your eye off the ball, and it's commercial piracy that's grown and grown and grown, which is why we desperately need action to be taken on behalf of the government to tackle the problem.
I mean, the losses are staggering, 165 million a year, and this I suppose works its way right down back to the musicians themselves losing revenue.
That's precisely right. I mean, the two people that suffer hugely out of this is of course the artist who doesn't get paid when you buy a counterfeit CD, but also the record companies who invest an enormous amount of money in new music in the first place. Now, with no money coming back to the record companies, there's less incentive to invest in new music. Now, currently at the moment, the British music scene is fantastic in terms of creativity. There's so many good acts coming through, but in order to safeguard the future of music, we really do need a crackdown both on piracy on the internet and offline by cutting the supply of fame.
I suppose if you look at it from the other side, from maybe young people who don't have an awful lot of money and they see a bargain because it is expensive to go into a shop and buy some of these things, they're going to get it for half price, they're going to do it, aren't they?
Well, I mean, that's the attraction, of course, is the fact that the CDs are so cheap. But there's two things you've got to bear in mind when you're buying a counterfeit CD. Firstly, that you're effectively lining the pockets of the criminals in your local area, which isn't good because crime attracts crime. And secondly, of course, there's no money going back to the artist. Of course, you know, it might seem like a bargain, but you've got to bear in mind that CDs in price have come down hugely in recent years, and they represent very, very good value for money.
Just briefly, are you committing an offence if you buy the illegal CD and you know it's illegal?
Actually, you're not. The onus is very much on the seller, and by selling fakes, you're breaking copyright law, and there are very serious penalties. But certainly, it's the enforcement and the catching of these criminals that needs to be where the investment needs to take place.
Okay, Matt Phillips, thanks very much indeed.